Next question.
Next question.
Okay, so is it okay?
No.
Every time friends to lead up to something that's a no for real, right?
Is it okay to date a non-Christian?
No.
Oh.
Wait, listen.
No. You don't even want to hear the rest of it. So
Listen.
No.
Look up at this one. No.
That's not even biblical.
I
No.
gotta listen to the question.
As soon as I heard non-Christian,
Absolutely not.
Is it okay to date a non-Christian? And if someone does, do you believe they can impact them to change? Do you believe that them dating and them coming to church, yes, I know people come to church because not for Jesus, but for the person. Do you believe that in that moment God could still move and then they could change their lives?
why do you have to be with them for God to move?
This is a hard no. First of all,
I love what y'all say.
This is a hard no. Your parents say you are the company you keep, and I know we all would like to be. I can't be influenced. I am the leader of the group. I don't care what y'all say.
Right.
Your friends and the people around you, they rub off on you. That's just what it is. So when you dating someone that does not share your beliefs and stuff, guess what? Some of their beliefs trickle on down to you, and now you compromising. And while some of your beliefs trickle to them, you know, now we got this tug of war going on, and both of y'all confused.
Right.
That's number one. Number two, let's say you do impact them, and while y'all dating, and they do get saved. Now they're a baby in Christ, and they so focused on trying to keep their First of all, you focus on trying to keep your relationship going on in the natural. You can't even focus on this spiritual relationship that you got going on. So it's a distraction. So no, just no, nope, nine, nay. How many ways you say no? How many languages you need? No. It's enough for me.
Nah.
So somebody.
No. And that's that's biblical, man. Like, he told them not to be with people that are unevenly yoked with them, and not to send your sons to mess with those females because they're of different. No, man, because oh Lord.
But you got experience on this.
Yeah, it don't work, man. It's just, it doesn't, because you're not honestly, you're not focused on Jesus. You're not, like, you can come and you can say I'm here for Jesus, but honestly in the back of your mind it's like, I'm doing this, I'm trying to get closer to God so I can get closer to that person. And what happens if y'all break up, or what happens if things begin to get rocky? The first person you dip on is Jesus. So that means what were you there for? And then, you know what I'm saying, when you hang around someone long enough, eventually you begin to, it doesn't even matter if you don't even see them as a non-Christian. You know what I'm saying? They're doing better. You start to say, oh, they're doing better and all this, and they got all this darkness going on. You're supposed to be the light, but someone's pulling someone somewhere. Right. You're either going to get pulled into the light or you're going to get pulled into the dark. Right. And most of the time people get pulled into the dark because
it's easier.
It's easier. Yeah, it's so much easier. It starts with, I don't know. That rule is crazy. That don't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, it don't even work that way.
And then, people so dramatic and passionate. I just want to hold you.
It's just one kiss. You know what I'm saying? Now y'all bumping and grinding. You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
It was only, the thing about it is, what's frustrating too is, let's say someone, you now are waiting for this person to catch up to you.
Yes, exactly.
And that process is just so frustrating, because it's just like, I need you to know that we can't do this.
Yeah, I need you to know Jesus for yourself. and then maybe we'll revisit it a couple of years. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like when we older, like as soon as you said non-Christian, that means you ain't a Christian. Nah, because it's hard enough for Christians to date each other. So you put the non-Christian into the equation. Nah, that's a hard no for me too. Nah, hard no.
Perry.
Perry.
No.
Let me tell you something.
She looked just like
Let me tell
me.
you something. Okay. So, I dated this guy who was not a Christian. Because I felt like especially for me, okay. Anybody who knows my spiritual life, they know me and God, we 100.
A one day one.
A thou wow.
Thou wow.
Bow wow.
Thou wow.
All day. So, in my dumbness, I was like, okay, you know, I can date him, you
We'll
know,
call
whatever.
it full exuberance.
That
You.
stupidness. I was like, I can date him or whatever. I didn't have any intentions of, because my thing is, I'm used to dating people who are already saved. So my thing is, I don't usually ask, hey, what do you believe? Because they're always saved. So for me, I didn't ask that question. So we just got into a relationship, and I was just like, oh, well, all right, whatever. Because usually when I get into relationships, I'm like, whatever. You like me, so we're just gonna date, I guess. So at that time, we started getting into like deeper feelings, because it started getting a year, 2 years, okay. And then the real questions started to arise. And then I realized, okay, you're not today.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Oh,
Ain't no Jesus there.
Okay, you're not there. Okay.
If you being honest, it didn't take you 2 years to figure that out.
I was gonna say that's a long time.
You
No.
knew.
No.
You knew.
I didn't. So
She knew.
She knew.
I did not.
But honestly, no, because people that are in love or lust,
They are blinded.
them blinders.
You know,
But that's what I'm saying.
So
like
the flags was there, but you know how you just drive through it.
Oh, right,
yeah,
right.
No, I can't do it. I did not see that.
And then
Swerve it all up. That wasn't Jesus.
yeah.
That was my subconscious.
I'm gonna let that slide this time. It was on the first time.
So I'm just like, okay, because, all right. So then I realized real quick, okay, you're not serious, like at all. So, but by then I was already invested.
Oh
Can't
man.
get that time back. Time messed up now.
So by then I was already invested, and by then I had grown feelings for him too. So I'm just like, oh man, that sucks. Could have nipped this in the bud earlier. But it was so difficult for me to cut it with him, because I once I realized that, I was like, okay, we need to we need to link up real quick. We need to talk about this.
Cut it.
So for a while though, I was like praying and fasting. I was just like, Jesus, I know we're not supposed to be unequally yoked. However, I
And
really
that's when he was
him.
like, "What are you praying to me for?"
No,
You know what to do.
No, seriously.
Like, oh, now you here. I have been waiting 365 days twice.
But the thing is, he actually answered me, and he was just like, listen,
Of course.
he told me why this person was in my life. He told me why I went down this path. He told me all of that. But he told me right now, it's the hardest testament of my faith, because I've found somebody who supports me, who is really great as a person, who's everything I've ever asked God for, except whatever I was asking God for, I never asked him, he has to be saved. Because I always assumed he was saved.
That's a good testimony.
So-
That gave me the chills.
So now I was just like, okay, now I gotta cut it, because he's not. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, to cut everything with this dude. Like the hardest thing I've ever had to do. Like to this day, I still kind of like him a little bit, but I mean, I know that unless, because I had that conversation with him, I was like, listen, you know how I stand with God. You know me and him, listen, he's first all the time. He's like, no, yeah, I know. And I'm like, no, you don't get it because you're not saved. So you don't understand how I love you because you don't know that love. You don't love me.
That you said something so powerful.
So I was just like, when you get to that, I believe maybe then we can reconvene.
Bro.
But even then, you'll be behind me.
Young, especially young people, back to that one question. And that last statement you said is powerful. You do not know how I love you because you have never experienced real, pure, untainted love, and you get that from Jesus. Which is why I always tell the young people, let him find Christ. Let him love Christ and let Christ lead him to you. If it happens in any other order, your life is going to be in shambles. Believe me. I went out with my friends like we was all hanging out. You know, some of my friends Christians, some of them they all from different. You know, some of them and they can do some of them whatever. But some of them Buddhists is okay. We chilling, so we hanging out, and this guy approaches me, and he was cute, and I'm not spoken for, so we were talking for a second, and I didn't give him my number as he requested, and they like, Jerry, why you ain't seeing nobody, and I was just like, you guys y'all don't understand, like, I can't bring him home. And by home, I'm not just talking about my parents. I'm talking about this home to Jesus, right? I can't bring him home, right? He's not in a place, I can give him a church card or whatever, but that's not what he's trying to do here. He's trying to connect on that level, and I would be setting myself up because I knew emotionally too. I ain't had nobody, I was feeling some type of way, so I knew I could easily fall into some foolishness. But I'm just like, that just wouldn't be a good idea. And anybody that I end up falling for, you need to know Jesus, because that only through Christ will you understand the ways in which I love you.
Right.
That's good.
That is good. That was very good. That was a good
You
question.
learned something?
I did. I actually did. Especially on the jeans part. Like, I'm thinking about that, like, bro, I'm finna go home and throw all my jeans away. No, I'm just playing. That's something I'm gonna pray and fast on for real.
But the one thing I will tell you, I remember when because you had the same question about the earrings. Remember? And I was like, what's more important to you? 2 little earrings in your ear or Jesus? And you took mine like.
But like that, I just was like, okay, that's fine. I didn't care about that. But it's the jeans part that kind of gets me, because it's like you see all these people that's going all out for God, and they learn how to dress modest with jeans, and they're really growing.
They don't have the same rules.
That's why I say that goes back to their house rules. Their pastor allowed them to wear jeans. You know what I'm saying? The people that are over them allow them to do that.
Nobody's saying that this is essential to your salvation in the sense that if you are wearing pants, you can't be a powerful woman of God. I'm saying it's essential to your salvation in the sense that you know for a fact that your father, the shepherd over this place, told you that that's a no-no, and you doing it anyway. Thus you outside of the will of God. Thus, when that rod of correction come on you, don't, you know what I'm saying? We can't really feel no type of way about it because you're not doing what you're supposed to do. We do stuff all the time. My dad will come say something to me, and I'm just, the only thing I can say to him is, yes. I just be like, yes, let me go ahead and take this spanking because I knew better when I did it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody's saying that you're going to be perfect, but what I am saying is, you know that's an honest, that's one of the house rules. You got to respect it. Don't be disrespectful.
Next question.
See ya.
What can be a burden for you personally?
Oh, say that again.
What can be a burden for you personally?
What can be a burden for you?
Yes.
So you want to know what our personal burdens are?
For an example, for me, I'll just give an example. My burden, what could be a burden for me is when I see someone going through something, but I can't figure out what's wrong with them. So like, if I see something wrong with somebody, I could feel what they're going through, but not know like exactly what they're going through, and it's going to frustrate me because I'm like, okay, well, you pray, you have to, you know how they say it's better to pray specifically to know. I wouldn't know what to pray specifically for because I don't know what's going on.
Well, see, the thing is, you don't always have to know what's going on with somebody. Just being for them, being there for them sometimes is helpful.
I often told you you need to probably study intercession because you have these moments where people just heavy on your heart, and then you wake up in the middle of the night and you got to pray for them, and you don't necessarily need to know what it is, but you're standing in the gap for them. I told you, if you want to understand you and your spiritual gift, we've been through this over and over again, you need to study intercession because this is a reoccurring thing with you, and you just like, this is affecting my mood, like I can't move on, this person keeps dropping in my spirit, what do I do?
No, honestly, because that's what it sounds like. Because
She has it too.
yeah, I have too many gifts. That's why
I have too many gifts. Come on, Jesus. I don't want it.
No, seriously.
Sometimes you say that. I don't want it.
I've said it many.
Oh.
Take this cup from me, Lord. It be thy will, but it's not.
And if you don't take it, I'm about to pour it out. I don't want it.
But the thing
And he'll
is,
fill it right back up.
no, seriously, because I tried to do that one time, and then like I was ridiculed.
That's what, and I just came from. I told you I just came from a season because I'm always going against authority, and
Yeah.
but Jesus told me sit down.
Humble yourself.
Yeah, go get right, because sometimes we allow ourselves to get in the way of what God wants to do.
Right.
And it's not our church, it's His church, and
Right.
it's not our way, it's His way. So, humbling experience. A lot of time on that front row pew, a lot of time at that altar, a lot of time in prayer and fasting and getting right and getting my mind right and getting back to when I first experienced and encountered Jesus. To know, it's bigger than me. It's not about me.
Right.
It's not about any of us. Our feelings don't matter.
Right.
Because we've already experienced and felt His love, so it's time for us to show it and get it to other people so they can experience it and understand that true love too. So.
But yeah, when it comes to knowing your gifts, especially if you have a burden, you should definitely explore that because not a lot of people can do that. Not a lot of people can stand in the gap. Not a lot of people can feel what other people are feeling. So eventually, you will get to a place where you can see somebody or you can feel that somebody's there and you're just like, oh crap, now I gotta go pray. Cause
that happens to me, bro. I have dreams.
Oh my God.
And
Yes.
I have vivid dreams. Like I'll see people.
yeah.
And I had a couple times where like I'll be like, yo, last night you were in my dreams, everything's straight. And just from that, sometimes they just start pouring all this
Oh my
information.
God,
but like even you don't even for me, because I don't go up to people. And that's my problem. I avoid people if I can, whenever I can. Okay, because my relationship with God is so dynamic and close. If I go to you, I already know exactly what you're missing with. I already know exactly what I need to pray for. I don't even have to ask you what you're going through. I already know. So that's where your gift is going to grow. But in the same aspect, I'm working on the people aspect because now I gotta approach you and talk to you. And I really don't.
You need to focus on deepening your relationship with Christ, and that understanding is only going to come from Christ. And that's why I say you need to study this particular gift because this is a reoccurring thing. But you also need to pray. You need to ask for understanding, and through that relationship, you're going to learn how to deal with this gift. Also, you said you feel yourself growing. This is another testament for why you have to be obedient fully, because you do not understand the level in which God is trying to take you. And just because you grow inch by inch, and you don't understand what He really wants to do with you and how He really wants to pour into you. But it's like, if you cannot be faithful to the man of God who I've put over you, you certainly can't be faithful to me. So I need you. That's step one. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So in that, I honestly and seriously think you need to focus on just spend more time talking to Jesus. Just spend more time reading His love letter to you, reading the Word, and then studying on intercession so that you can better understand your gift.
Get a book.
There are books as well.
Real.
Dang, this is crazy.
Next question.
This is real crazy. Next question.
Oh, it's coming out of you
Oh,
today.
it's coming out. Why do Christians have to be so intolerant?
To what?
To
Like just being intolerant, I guess.
I'm gonna get this tiny violin.
Right.
Intolerant to what?
I guess like other people, like especially like non-believers.
Christians
What do you
are
mean we're intolerant?
Like you can't just. I guess you could say they have to have like their standards and they have to stand by. They can't just be. I don't know how to explain it.
You
Like
talking about they won't like meet people where they're at?
I guess it's
We're,
like
so people
No, wait. Explain your question.
okay. You know how some people they have their belief, and then once they start talking to someone else that probably has a different belief, they slowly start to like question certain things. So you have to be intolerant. Like you got to be like, okay, this is what I believe. I can't be.
You mean by, okay, so.
Like narrow-minded.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that if I talk to someone and they have a different perspective on something, that we should take their perspective into account. But Christians don't seem to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want to say to that. Because
She said
I don't-
1,000.
I don't, because I've had this conversation too. When I went to college, which is where people usually learn to be this way, there was a lot of people. I mean, we had people from all over come to our school, like all over, all walks of life, everything, and we were all close to each other. My thing is, they knew what I believed, and I knew what they believed. And I respected what they believe because even though I don't understand it, that's what you believe. And you hold that close to you, and I hold my beliefs close to me too. That doesn't mean I'm not going to be your friend. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out with you. But that means that when I am having my Jesus moment, don't ridicule me, because I'm not going to ridicule you. So Christians can be very, 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 oh no, that's not what, and get into a debate. And that's not what Jesus is asking for. That's not what anybody is asking for. We don't need to debate over anything. We are not debaters, we are ambassadors. It's a big difference. We don't go up to the pulpit and debate and say, this is my vote for me, this, that, and the other. We don't care about your votes. We already in there. So we're just stating that, okay, this is what we believe in. This is what I'm representing. I'm representing where I come from, which is my kingdom, which is a country. For me, that's where I was born. For you, that's where you was born. That's so cool. And I never thought about it that way. But you have to know who you are in Christ so that you're not shaken.
Why
that
should I
comes
preach
from,
nothing?
that comes from maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an individual thing. You can't talk about everyone as a whole.
And unfortunately, the people
The
that
immature
claim to
people
be, they're
are
the loudest.
And they get all the time. Because
And that's where we get the bad rap from. But that comes, because like I said earlier, I have my friends from all different walks of life, and we just gonna agree to disagree. One of my friends is Hindu, and she was just like, it's like, we just having a deep conversation, and she was just like, but you don't agree with gay marriage. And I was just like, darling, right? If we have this conversation, you know that this is a tense conversation for both of us, right? Because I believe strongly what I believe, you believe strongly what you believe, right? So we just gonna have to table that one, and we just had to table it because I respect what you believe, but you're not going to convince me otherwise of what I believe. So if we both respect what each other believe, we can okay, let's table that, and we can move forward accordingly. But I don't have to. People try to label Christians as intolerant because we don't. That, and also because we're not anything goes. Oh, just let people just do whatever, and certainly you can do whatever. But based on my belief system, I choose not to do it, and per my beliefs, that's a no-no, right? And because per my beliefs, that's a no-no, you're not going to villainize me. I can't force you to do anything, but we're not those anything goes people, you know, because that's just not what it is. But that doesn't make me intolerant. that makes me an ambassador. That makes me, this is what I believe. This is the truth for me. And just because it's not the truth for you doesn't mean you get to, oh, everybody, you Christians are always talking about love, but y'all don't respect love. I do respect love in the purest form. But what I know of love is not what you're taking love and turning it into perversion, and they are not synonymous. Sorry.
So you have to pretty much think of it as, think of it like this. Children are the worst, right? So they will say what they think that they understand, but they don't understand. They don't understand all of it. So when they are children, they're immature, they're going to be the absolute loudest. Children are loud. And Aggie, so they're gonna be like that. Because, you know, they're immature, they're gonna be loud, so they're gonna get the most attention, right? Children get the most attention from everyone. But once they grow up, they're not as loud anymore. They're loud in different ways. Like, I'm loud with you because I'm answering your questions and you're being enlightened. But if there was no camera here, I wouldn't be as loud to everyone else.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Because I'm mature. Now, if I was a kid, I'm going to be posting all my ignorance on Instagram, all my mistakes, all my everything. Because I don't know any better.
Please be clear, in terms of kid and adult, I'm not just referring to age here.
No.
Because some people never age past,
Yeah.
That teenage year. Some people never age past that adolescent stage. Some people never age, and some people never mature past that, not age. Because you age, you could be 60 years old and still behaving like a child.
Right.
So it is certainly the level of maturity. It takes maturity to understand that you have a responsibility to everyone around you in the community, and it's not, just about you.
Right.
So.
But and I liked her analogy when she was talking about how, like, when you're immature, because if you think about when you first came to Christ, you got a little bit of knowledge. You be trying to push it on, force it on everybody, and yelling down everyone's throat.
Right.
But when you get in this and you do it for a long time, you season, you get to a point where it's like, why am I even arguing with you, bro? I don't have to argue God's word. It's going to argue for itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, there's no point to argue. I ain't got to be intolerant. It's just that we don't have to have this conversation, because my friends know if they call me and they ask me for advice, I'm giving you biblical advice. Don't call me, and I'm going to give you Jesus and some more Jesus. And if that's not what you want to hear, then you shouldn't. I'm not the person you should call, because that's the advice I'm going to give you. Because that's where I'm getting all my knowledge and my advice from.
Right.
So that's what it is. I don't call it being intolerant. I just call it being immature. And immature people always want to be heard. They always want to be loud when they ain't got nothing to say.
Yes, amen.
And then they choose to impact the most, or be seen as impacting so much when they really, really don't.
Yeah.
They're just impacting everybody else's view, but everybody else are also children. So
That's why I love watching interviews of people that that have even been in the limelight since they were young, and then you see them as an adult, and most of them always say, if I knew then what I know now.
But you just chilled.
You hit me.
Next question.
Okay. In a conversation with someone who has never heard about God, what would you say about him from your experience?
Greatest man I know.
Never knew a love like this.
No, but for real, like, Jesus clutch. Jesus is clutch. I mean, it's so hard to describe someone that is everything. He is everything. He can be anything. He's just like, when you are in your lowest moments and you are praying and you get that breakthrough and you have that time with God and everything just begins to unwrap and you're crying and you know what I'm saying, you feel so free and you feel like you can feel His love wrapping around you. Like, that's hard to explain to people. That's why you try to get them to experience it. Because it's like, bro, you got to experience this, because this is an experience of all experiences. It's like the first time when you go to Disney, you look up at that big castle walking down that long brick road, and it's like, I made it. You know what I'm saying?
Like yesterday. But she kept saying, she was like, oh, this ice cream is so good. And I was like, it's not even that serious. And then when you tasted it, you was like, this ice cream hit.
Indescribable.
Yeah, it's hard to. It's just something you truly gotta experience. Because I've been to all kinds of youth conferences and all kinds of everything. And when the Spirit of God really moves, you just hop in. Because you know what time it is. Like, I'm not missing this ride for nothing. Baby girl, you don't want to worship? I am going to hop into this pool and I am going to grab all of this Jesus that I can get to rub all over me and help me in my situation. And it's indescribable. It's everything. I mean, I love Jesus.
Jesus, I'll admit it.
Yeah, man. Man.
I often describe my experiences with them, and most people, because I'm different in the sense that I'm not, let me tell you about my friend Jesus. So it's a part of the art of storytelling, so I paint the picture for them, and by the time you just into my story that at the end, Jesus, by the way. It's just like the way that you just fell in love with my speech and this experience. Somebody love you like this? Yes. Someone that is consistent and shows up at all times. And when I say all times, I mean at all times.
That's crazy. Like, that's why I love him, because you ever had a moment, don't listen for real, you ever had a moment
at all times.
Hey.
She mad.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Jinx, not it.
Oh man. I love us because.
Next question.
Really?
No. Why?
You want to describe Jesus for you?
I was just gonna say it's crazy because like I really be having moments where like you ever felt like everybody was against y'all and the only person that's there for you is Jesus. That's crazy.
That's
Like,
like that right now.
That's how it's always.
it's crazy. Like even your own like the closest people, like you call your best friend, family members, whatever. You will just
go ahead.
you just feel like everybody's against you, and you feel like you have nobody to go to. But when you have a relationship with God, it's just like at least you got one person, and that one person is the only one that really matters. And I'm still gonna get my feelings because I'm human.
That's the way it works, man.
Why should someone save sex for marriage?
We really gonna answer this?
This is questions that people might not really know the answer to. Remember, we finna get viral, so you gotta explain.
Why
this.
should someone save sex for marriage?
Yes, this is questions people really have. They don't see why you gotta wait that long.
Because the Bible says so.
Oh my God. Even from a non-biblical standpoint.
Yeah, let's do that.
People, you guys who have had sex can attest to this. Sex changes everything. Sex changes everything. From the moment that you introduce it into the equation. So what was meant to be a way for another expression of love is now the substitute for what love looks like. So now it's perverse. Again, we've taken love and turned it into something, a form of perversion. So it's like, it's hard for you to look at the love of your life and he just doesn't measure up to your ex.
Right. Like,
in that area. So, you know what I'm saying? Now it's just kind of like, you would be so dope if you was able to like him, or like her, or so there's that comparison aspect. There's the soul ties aspect to where, you know what I'm saying, you got this, you can't seem to get away from this person who literally harms you over and over and over and over again. And everybody around from the outside looking at you like you're an idiot.
Right.
But you are connected to this person in this way. And you feel like an idiot. You know what I'm saying? But you don't even have an understanding for what you've done. Right?
Yes.
So I could go on and on. Somebody take it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, sex ain't smart to do. It clouds everything. Your judgments ain't even smart no more. You just, that's that flesh again. You feed that flesh and you be messed up. Sex have you messed up, man. Like, you ain't even like a person because you having sex with them and you holding on to that sex, you be there forever. Like, and it devalues it when you actually get to marriage, because like that waiting, like I respect people that wait so much because I was someone that didn't wait. So to have that power and to have that, you know what I'm saying, the willpower and the strength to hold on to that and actually save it, you know what I'm saying, for what God intended for it to be for. I bet you it's an even more joyous experience on your, you know what I'm saying, on that wedding night when you consummate your marriage and you waited to do it on that day. Yeah, just sex is just bad before marriage. Don't do that. Have your head all messed up, girl. How you spending your whole bank account and everything. It just had you messed up.
Barry, you got anything to say? Or you just gonna say it because you'll die? Don't have sex because you'll die. But when you marry, you won't die.
Well, that's pretty accurate.
In truth.
That is pretty accurate. Here's why. Don't have sex until you're married, because you will die. You die all the time. Sex was meant to be this powerful force of nature, into which if you have it before it is due, it becomes this destructive power. For instance, fire, right? If it is contained, it is beautiful. If it's not, it becomes a wildfire and it tears down your whole place. Now you gotta rebuild from scratch.
I've heard that before.
I've never heard that analogy.
I think Pastor Mark Todd said that.
He probably did.
I probably didn't watch that sermon. Sorry.
But
okay. He said okay, with water.
Yeah, he said, yeah.
Water, if it's contained,
Yeah.
it can sustain your whole life, right?
shout out
If
to
it's
Pastor
not
Michael
right, Pastor
Yeah,
Michael.
he lit.
If it's not
Watch
though,
the sex container. That was
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a sex container.
Yeah.
If it's not though, you'll drown,
Yeah.
and everybody else will drown.
Yeah, if you flooding
So
out.
you're dead
you know
now.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
you're dead now.
You're dead.
Yeah, you're dead.
Same with fire though. That
Yeah.
analogy was
It will
because it's fire. When you
burn
think
down
of
the whole-
everything that we use fire